you're a home buyer, somebody or a young person looking to buy a home, you need a bit of a reset.
There is a possibility on the other side of this that inflation could actually be quite low.
Unemployment's only 3.7%. The labor market is so strong. Everything's going to be perfectly fine. We're headed into a soft landing, right? Wrong. There's no way that I believe any word of these constant headlines that we keep reading on how strong the labor market is. Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in and we're going to crack open all of the lies that we continue to hear on the labor market. And we're really going to dig into that 3.7% unemployment rate that so many people are celebrating. Now, I'll admit that many people, especially Danielle DiMartino Booth, helped me understand why the massive discrepancy in the household survey versus the establishment survey. The differences in those two surveys are hundreds of thousands of jobs. So what do we look at? What's really going on? Is it the establishment survey? Is it the household survey? Well, you guys are going to enjoy this video because I'm going to rip apart and I'm going to explain to you why the unemployment rate appears so low when reality is it's much higher than it actually appears. So we're going to go into the unemployment rate. We're going to go into severance. We'll go into the household survey, the establishment survey. And if you guys find value in this, if you can, like the video. It really helps out my channel. Comment below, share it. I hope to hear from you. And either way, I hope you guys learn something from this video and you find it extremely valuable. First of all, let's start here. This is Fed economic data unemployment rate. And right now we're sitting at 3.7%. Now that is extremely low. That number, 3.7, is extremely low. The data is tainted. They're allowed to manipulate the data to make it appear as if unemployment is a lot better than it actually is. But the reason I'm pulling this up is I want to show you how unemployment always starts out low until recession hits and then it skyrockets. So if you guys look at, around 2007, the unemployment rate was in the 4%. Okay, so in the 4%, when we hit recession, look at this. It went from 4.7 all the way to double digits. So all the way to 10%. And that was about a year and a half time frame. So it shot up. That's what recessions do. Recessions cause overwhelming employment. You also see that here in the early 2000s. Now look at same thing in the early 2000s. Unemployment was in the 3%. You see that? So it went from being in the 3% and then it shot up only to about it peaked at 6.3. So if we have 6.3% unemployment right now, everything would completely fall apart because the market is being propped up by this so-called strong labor market, right? And if we go to the other recession in the 1990s, the beginning of 1990s, you guys see again, it started out in the low 5% and then it shot up to 7.8. So it skyrockets. You guys see that right here as well. Hit recession, skyrockets. You see it here, hit recession, skyrockets. You see it here as well, hit recession, skyrockets. So it's only a matter of time before the unemployment rate absolutely explodes. And that's why so many people got their forecasting off because we haven't hit recession. That's it. That's the only thing we really got off. But that doesn't mean that a recession's not coming. What it means is we were just off on our forecasting. And when I look at and I ask myself, why was I off on my forecasting? Because I thought we were going to hit recession in 2023. Well, one big reason is there is just so much money that was pumped into the system. We had EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loans. We had the PPP, Payroll Protection Program. They pumped in hundreds of billions of dollars into medium and small businesses to survive through lockdowns. So it's going to take more time for the unemployment to happen because there's so much money that was injected. I mean, it makes perfect sense. But now let's go into the household survey versus the establishment survey so I can show you guys the massive discrepancies in data. I think you guys are gonna absolutely love this article. Click the link, follow along. This is from shiftgoal.com. Jobs, the household survey tells a different story. So this is an analysis below that covers employment pictures released on the first Friday of every month. Okay. So here's what I want to explain to you guys. So take a look at this chart right here. Okay. So that light green is the household survey. And this, I guess this is blue, is basically the establishment survey. And what you can really see is the massive discrepancy in the two starting at the end of 2023. So on one hand, let me read the last report so you guys understand the current trends. Okay. But again, You know, on one hand, we're reporting massive job losses. Household surveys is showing massive job losses, but those same months, the establishment survey is showing massive job increases. So who's wrong and what's going on? So while the BLS, okay, our establishment survey reported 353,000 more jobs. The household survey actually reported a loss of 31,000 jobs. Now, December was an even bigger miss at 330,000 jobs versus a loss of 683,000 jobs. That is a discrepancy of 1 million jobs. I'm going to say this again. In December, the establishment survey showed that we gained 333,000 jobs. Meanwhile, the household survey said we lost, not gained, we lost 683,000 jobs. Are you guys starting to see the big picture now? Are you guys starting to understand that the data is manipulated? But then the question is why? How are they getting away with it? Why the massive discrepancy? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, all right? And Danielle DiMartino Booth helped me understand this. Severance. When someone's laid off, especially from these big tech companies, and we're about to go into this report right now, when someone's laid off but given severance, they can have severance for 6 months, 9 months, and even a year. If they're laid off but receiving severance, you guys, they're not counted as being unemployed. It still counts as if they were employed. So we don't even have the big picture. If you were laid off, you're getting severance. We don't even know that you were laid off. And therefore, it's not even in the numbers. And that's why you see a 1 million job discrepancy when we look back at December. 1 million additional people over that, because that's just December. 1 million people are laid off right now that are not even counted in unemployment. And if you really want to dig deep, we're losing full-time jobs. And that's being replaced by Uber Eats. The labor market is going to implode, in my opinion, when the recession starts. But let's dig into severance now. And let's look no further than Google. Google spent billions of dollars to lay people off. And think about that. Why would they be spending money to lay people off? Don't they get money by laying people off? The reason that Google spent billions of dollars to lay people off is severance. Let's read this. This is really crazy, actually. Google spent $2.1 billion on severance and other expenses as it laid off more than 12,000 employees over the course of 2023. And the layoff charges keep coming. In just the 1 month of 2024 so far, the company has already spent $7 million on employee severance charges as part of layoffs, targeting another 1,000+ roles. That is insane. So just in January, Google paid $700 million in severance, essentially masking what is really going on in the labor market. Don't you find that phenomenal? And you guys, the thing is these cuts aren't over. There's going to be more and more cuts, but we're not going to find that out because they're going to cut people but still give them severance. So we're not going to find that out until the severance is gone. Despite the cuts, Google ended 2023 with growth across most of its core business lines. Google posted $86 billion in revenue for the fourth quarter of 2023, a 13% increase year over year. That's probably a result of things are just more expensive right now, so it might not even be true profit. And some of the biggest companies fall first, you guys. Google is currently the third largest cloud provider in the world, trailing behind Microsoft and AWS, Amazon. Basically Microsoft and Amazon. But the cloud division picked up steam last year. The company reported $9.1 billion in revenue for Google Cloud. That's crazy for just storage. A considerable boost, 25% year over year. So their revenue is going up, but they have to lay people off. Why? Why is that? Do you guys think it's because of the interest rates being higher and the fact that they have to refinance their loans into a much higher interest rate, maybe going from 2% to 6% or 7%? I think we're starting to see the lag effects of quantitative tightening start to play out. But again, the reason why it appears so laggy, severance is a disguise. They're really laid off, but they're just getting money. They're still getting money, and that's good. They still get money, but it's not in the data. That's shady, super shady. And we know that Google is shutting down businesses and offices. Although layoffs cost Google a pretty penny, so did the real estate cutbacks, due to the said layoffs. And also work from home. They shut down the physical office space, and that cost Google $1.8 billion in entry of 2023. So they're losing money, you guys. They're losing money. There's no doubt about that. And it's not just Google spending billions of dollars in severance. The banking sector is also doing the same thing. This is insane. Wells Fargo's CEO warns of severance costs of nearly $1 billion in the fourth quarter as layoffs loom, which means there's more layoffs coming. But when are we going to be reported it? When will the layoffs be reported in the numbers? Let's look at the 3 bullet points. Wells Fargo CEO Charlie said low staff turnover means the company would likely book a big severance expense in the fourth quarter. I wonder if they get some type of reward from the government for masking the numbers like that. I don't know if they do. I'm just wondering. We're looking at something like $750 million to a little less than $1 billion in severance in the fourth quarter that we weren't anticipating. Ouch. They were not anticipating. That's a lot of money. That expense is an accrual for worker layoffs that Wells Fargo expects to make next year, according to a spokesperson. I'm going to tell you guys, if Wells Fargo's doing it, the other banks are going to follow. Wells Fargo needs to get more aggressive managing headcount because employee attrition has slowed this year. Wells Fargo, the 4th biggest U.S. bank by assets, was already among the most active in laying off workers this year. So if you guys want to know what's going to happen in the banking sector, probably look to Wells Fargo since they are leading the layoffs. And let's see, the bank has cut about 11,300 jobs so far in 2023, or a whopping 4.7% of its workforce. They had about 250,000 employees as of September. So the big companies doing layoffs are offering severance. Now, do me a favor. If you learn something new, because I learned something new, this was probably a month ago. If you learn something new, comment below. Does it make more sense now why the discrepancy in the establishment survey versus the household survey? Well, the reality is if we counted severance in the unemployment rate, what unemployment would we really have? And I really want you to think about that. You guys, the problem is with the labor market is it's artificial. It is way more artificial than the GFC, but it's also being propped up by hundreds of millions, hundreds of billions of dollars that was pumped into the economy. It's still in the economy and it's going to take some time. But the reality is even though there's not unhinged, I'm talking unhinged unemployment, look at the cracks. Look at the cracks in the labor market. And again, look at the cracks in the labor market. This is not healthy. The fact that we lost 1.5 million full-time jobs in December, the fact that a lot of the unemployment is not even being reported because of severance, that should caution us moving forward. We should really buckle down and save our money. We should really make sure we are assets at the company we work for. And even if we are assets, it doesn't mean that that company is going to stay in business. So I want you guys to keep your guard up and if possible, save your money. Rearrange how you're living, prepare for potential layoff. And let me ask you guys something, okay? Being that 70% of people are living paycheck to paycheck, if you guys lost just one payment from your employer, would you be okay? I want you to comment below. Be honest. Would you be okay if you lost just one payment? Now, other than that, guys, I hope this video gave you guys some additional insights, value, and perspective. And if you're out there investing in real estate, you guys already know I wish you luck, and I hope you win.